Access screen.
This episode of This Week in MMO is brought to you by Audible. For a free 30-day trial and a free audiobook, head on over to audible.com/gamebreaker.
Gamebreaker TV.
Big Dog, what's up, everybody? It's Friday. Welcome to This Week in kind of MMO. Episode number 134 for March 1st, 2013. I'm Gary Gannon. Today we're going to talk about World of Darkness. Might not be as dead as we feared. BioWare shutting down a game, and the boys are back in town. Only the boys. By boys, I mean zombies. And by town, I mean Steam. But first, we have a new guest. She is an MMO veteran of 63 years. My grandma.
I'm so happy to be here.
Granny, thanks so much for coming on this show. It's been a long time. You know, you got me into UO, and I'm just glad I could bring you on this show and just let everybody hear of all your amazing MMORPG knowledge.
For 63 years.
And of course, joining us as okay, keep that up. All right, cool. All right, because that would get really annoying. And joining us, Mr. Jason Minner.
You know, I was wondering last time I got a haircut why they were so carefully packaging up the remains. Apparently, it was to sell for wigs.
I need some wigs.
The right color.
Yeah, we need. This show needs to get more fun. Let's start. I'm gonna get props this week. I used to have all kinds of props. I had an afro wig and I had a mustache. And
Did you do magic tricks?
Yeah, I'm gonna get like a box. I'm just gonna have a box of props over here. We got Willie the Wizard. I don't know. We'll bring him back someday. All right, let's talk about this weekend MMO because I got better things to do. It's the weekend, and the show, you know, is kind of the low point of my week. So,
I feel offended now.
That's recorded.
Okay. Move on.
It's alive. So Eurogamer got some info on World of Darkness from CCP. So I'll give you guys a little bit of backstory. I won't blame you if you have not heard of World of Darkness. We haven't been covering it a ton, but it's based. It's an MMORPG in development by CCP Games, the makers of EVE Online. It's based on the tabletop pen and paper game that they acquired from White Wolf Studios. White Wolf, you know, they got that, man, they got that IP, I think, back in 2006. So they've had the IP for quite a while. Once they acquired White Wolf, and they've been working on this MMO ever since. We have not heard much about it. We're starting to see a little bit of coverage come out. It's been a couple years. We got, like, do you guys remember back in the day, we got that little bit of like handheld camera from they throw like a Fanfest kind of thing just for this in New Orleans, and we had like a bad camera phone. Yeah, the Masquerade. We haven't heard anything since then, hardly. I mean, it's been like nothing, except that they say, yes, we're still in development.
Really, we haven't. It's not vaporware. We swear.
Yes. Right?
What was it? 60 rock stars? Is that what they're working on it?
That's what they say. Yeah,
is that what they said? Yeah.
Pretty good number. So we haven't heard anything in years, and now we're starting to see maybe something is going to rear its head at possibly. It sounds like that they're going to show something at Fanfest this year. Also, don't forget the same company as Dust 514, so that's the other game you guys might be familiar with. But apparently CCP employees, they're saying the quote is that CCP employees are at the point internally where they're losing themselves in the game during internal play tests, which is marketing speak for it's really good. But that's about all the info we've got. So I don't know. What do you want to do? World of Darkness show incoming, confirmed.
Right I need more information on it first.
We could have so many good props.
You know,
vampire teeth and big hats or something.
And blood, you know, running down your neck.
Yeah.
I guess that'd be a victim, not a vampire, but yeah.
What do you think?
I think that one reason they waited so long is because Twilight came out and everybody's like, Vampires have a bad name right now. We might want to wait a few years. Okay, that was a jab at Twilight. I'm sorry.
It was a jab.
No, you don't need to apologize for that. No, not at all. Not at all.
And our vampires don't sparkle.
But yeah, I mean, it's on the one hand, I would like to see something more solid. And they say they're going to have something at Fanfest, but who knows if that's going to be like actual game details or just another fly through and some graphics or whatever. It doesn't really say a whole lot. But on the other hand, if this was just done, if it was just vaporware, they're not going to do it, then I guess maybe they wouldn't still talk about it as if they're going to be doing something with it. But they wouldn't, I guess, waste the PR energy on it, I would think. So maybe still around?
Yeah, no, I think you're onto something. That's kind of where I was going with it. It's like, well, if it was really kind of, on the outs, possibly they'd kind of just maybe let it fade out a bit and not really like take any time. But they want us to, kind of start thinking about it again. Who knows when is Fanfest? I don't have the date in front of me. Does anybody know? Is it like it's coming up somewhat soon? I think. But
it's in March sometime. I think, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you're right.
So pretty soon.
Other big news this week too is EVE Online. This is incredible. After a decade after launch, it's hit 500,000 subscribers. Their highest. I think is that their highest ever? That's their highest ever, right?
Yeah, they keep going up. They were like 400 or 450 last time they made an announcement. So yeah,
it's amazing that a game this old is like just keeps going up. And I know
is it
like
active subscribers or?
Yeah, that is active or whatever or current or whatever they want to call it.
It's not concurrent. They don't have 500,000 people online at any one given time.
No, yeah.
No. But with monthly subs, because they have this crazy thing that MMOs used to have. It's called a subscription. So
what is that?
Really well how
Granny
playing the game.
Granny,
do you remember?
Back in my day.
Granny,
do you remember what was on vacuum tubes?
Vacuum tubes. It's a series of vacuum tubes.
But
there are very, very, very few MMO. Are there any other MMOs that you can say that with 12 years in the running that the meter keeps going up? I don't know of any. They go up, then they start going down, and slowly. EVE keeps just going up. It just keeps going up. What does it say about the industry? More people just finding out about this type of gameplay and that they're like attracted to it. And once they get in it, they're like, wow, this is unlike anything else kind of on the market.
Well, there are quite a few that have multiple accounts, but not just that. There are some games that, one of their downfalls was the fact that they came out with a sub and then they went free to play, and they actually went up afterwards, like Terra, and I haven't heard any news on Star Wars, but
again, do we have
servers?
I don't know if we have enough data though. Of course we can see, like I said, you can see a spike. You have free to play. Oh, it's a big thing. A lot of people can. But a steady trend of year over year of increasing subs, I think it's huge. It says so much for this game. I mean, there's obviously, if you guys haven't tried, is there anything else on the market like it? I don't think there's anything out
there. I wonder too if it's so hard. To some extent, this is true in all MMOs. You invest in your character and you like him, and you just don't want to leave just because you spent so much time and done whatever on it. But EVE seems like it would be even stickier than that, even harder to let go from. Because you seem to do so much more work to get your status and whatever and build up your sandbox however you want and get big in your corporation, have lots of ISK, whatever, that it seems like it would retain better than a lot of games where just... Because the other thing, too, is, you play some other game like World of Warcraft or whatever, you like fantasy, swinging a sword, killing dragons, you can do that in 50 other MMOs, whereas the kind of space, war, economic, whatever simulation that EVE has really isn't duplicated anywhere else.
Yeah, but it's a lot more than that as well. Just the sci-fi fantasy thing is definitely a part of it. But just the player-driven nature of EVE, where once you get out of lower, higher sex space and get into 0-0, the game sort of begins and it's created by players. There aren't a lot of games on the market that kind of have that philosophy behind them. So I've been waiting so long for a fantasy MMO to kind of adopt just the philosophy that EVE Online has with this lawless 0-0, kill everybody, burn everything, take all your stuff sort of mentality. Because I think it proves that it can be done, and you don't need 12 million people to make that game run. 500,000. EVE CCP are probably making money hand over fist.
It is rising, but at the same time, there's a lot of people that won't try it simply because of that. It's a bit too much. Plus the fact that if you build... I've known people who they had a lot and they didn't, clone themselves or whatever, and they got attacked, lost everything, and they're done. I have lost the game. It's like, so I've known people who actually, yeah, it's maybe stupid or whatever, their mistake, but it's a bit too hardcore for some. They don't want to work up all of that and then literally like lose everything.
For some, but that's okay.
Some do, though.
This is like a recurring theme on this show. Like, I agree with you, but I think that that's okay. It's not a game for everybody.
Well, I do too.
That's totally cool. I had an interview yesterday with Mark Jacobs. It's on Game Breaker TV. You should go watch it. It's a really good one. Mark Jacobs, he's the man behind Dark Age of Camelot and Warhammer Online, and he's got a new game coming that he's working on called Camelot Unchained. You definitely should check it out. But he's bringing back a lot of these sort of like same things. He's not looking for millions of players. He's pretty realistic in the size of the scope of how many players would play this kind of game, and it's going to do RVR, realm versus realm, tri-realm, 3 realms, full-on mass PvP. There's no PvE in the game. There's no quests or anything like that. And he's going to do that. And he's going to do that as well as he can. But it's like, again, we talked about this in the interview. It's not going to be a game for everybody. But isn't that okay? I am super excited for developers to take this sort of like approach. I'm kind of tired of them trying to make games for everyone, and then these segments of the MMO, like not one of the like sort of game styles in the MMO is like super awesome. They're all like trying to cater too much to everybody.
I think it's because they want a safe bet. I don't know. They want a safe bet of what is it?
Who wants a safe bet?
The people who don't try something, for a niche group, the people that, try something that everybody would be familiar with. And I do think it is safe to have some things that people, like the controls or something, you're familiar with, but I think that too many people did try to make a WoW clone.
Well, that's the thing. I was just going to say, at this point, haven't we sort of proven that it's the most unsafe bet to make? Because everybody tried to chase WoW, but no, like, the casualties in that race are just like bodies are piled on top of bodies on top of bodies. It didn't work.
Yeah. Well, the actual unsafe thing is that, their marketing or their execs think that they can go in and steal people from WoW when it's, like Jason said, it's just not going to happen. People have years dedicated to their characters in WoW, and most of them aren't going to want to re-roll on a completely new game and a completely new server, especially when their friends or their guilds won't go with them. It's like, so that's not a safe bet at all. It's actually really stupid on whoever made that decision for these other games. It's like they should have went in with lower expectations.
The only question is, though, that do you have a similar situation with sandboxes? Whereas did Eve come along at a time when that sort of thing was still a lot more popular and a lot more able to succeed? Because we've had a few other games that have come out. So it's not many sandbox type games. We look at things like what your Sausage Lake game, isn't that a Mortal Online? That's all I think of it. Mortal Online, Galaxies, of course, was doing something and then it fell apart. So, I mean, can Eve be duplicated? Can you make a sandbox game that you can build up for 10 years, get 500,000 players or whatever?
Yeah, so the other problem, I mean, you can pick out the problems of all the other games that tried to do sort of sandboxy-esque elements and figure out why that they were a mess. I mean, SWG, the code was a complete disaster and it was a buggy mess that they could never fix. Like, that was a major problem. I mean, at the time, some of the newer games that are trying to do it are riddled with issues, right? You look at something like, I mean, it's only in beta right now, so I don't want to go too far into it, but you look at like Darkfall Online and Unholy Wars and stuff, and the new game that is still in beta that's coming out now looks like it was made in like the 90s. It looks bad. Like, it does not look good. And of course, I think, gameplay should trump graphics, but for any kind of mild success, like when Eve came out, it looked gorgeous, right? I know it's a completely different type of game, but you were like, wow, this space looks amazing. It kind of just, you need enough of the new technology and the fluidity of the characters, and like, gamers have, I don't think they're going to go, I think what I really like about, again, what Mark is talking about here with Unchained is he's bringing back some old school mechanics and things that a certain type of gamer would enjoy, which in a sense are a little bit more restricting and a slight bit more punishing. But his goal is to make a game that's also looks gorgeous, plays as fast as, like he brought up Guild Wars 2, like, all of those type of things that we've gotten used to, you can't neglect. And that's what some of the other hardcore games have done, is they've put the mechanics in and the philosophies behind them, but then there's all this other like clunky crap and you're just like, wow, like this just plays bad.
But that's part of the thing, though, is to get the really fast play and the lots of great gameplay and really great graphics cost a lot of money.
Sure.
To get a lot of money back, you got to have a lot of subscriptions. So that's how that cycle perpetuates. That's why you haven't really seen a bright and shiny AAA, top-notch, super-duper sandbox MMO. EverQuest Next might go that route. It's taking a big studio like Sony to do it, but that's part of why we don't see people willing to invest the money in that sort of thing.
Right. Hence why you see, guys like Mark, game designers, coming in going like, hey, I'm going to invest some of my money. I'm going to go to Kickstarter for some money, and we're going to make a sliver of a game. We're not going to spend tons of money on all this other stuff. I'm just going to make this.
I don't know. I just think you got to be careful in regards to Camelot Unchained, because one issue that Ultima Online has, and a lot of like straight, very, very brutal PvP games have, is the whole. I don't know. There's an actual term for it, but it's like they have high attrition, which means people leave really fast. The people that are just annihilating people because they're really, really good at the game, and then talk a lot of crap, because that's usually what happens. And the people they're annihilating all the time, because they aren't as good at the game, and even those people talk crap, but they get tired of getting their butts kicked in the game, so they quit. And then the people who are really good get bored, so they quit. And so then you're just left with some of the middle people, and the game, that's how it essentially like dies down, is because you have this high attrition of the good destroying the people at the bottom, and then it slowly just goes in like this. And so, I don't know, I hope that made sense. But that's why if they make a pure PvP game, they better be really smart about like maintaining that sort of balance of lowering the attrition in the game.
And I think that comes along with some really great tools and reasons to join, like, certain realms and guilds and alliances and things like that, where you can give people who have, I agree with you. I totally agree with you in that respect. I don't know. I'm excited about it. Go watch the interview, guys. You all check it out. It was really interesting.
What I wish they could do to deal with that somewhat is have games where a sandbox game where they didn't really concentrate on levels and direct power increases. Where you go out of town, you're a level 10 guy, and this level 50 is just going to smack you around because you don't have a chance. If you had a game where you didn't have that as much, you'd at least feel like, okay, I lost. I know some people certainly get pissed off at this, but I lost because the other guy had the same stats as me, but he was just better.
Yeah, but it also comes down to just how you set up your territory.
Because he played for 5,000 hours, got the super incredible Uber sword, and I never stand a chance. I would have to play for 10,000 hours to do that too.
But there's always going to be people who are better, and there's always going to be people who are stronger. And I'm a fan of people just losing and you getting your ass kicked in town. Like, I just think like if somebody can come along and kick your ass, like that, maybe that'd be frustrating. But I'm okay with that. I'm kind of. I'll be honest. I'm kind of tired of MMOs that are just like feel good loot machines. Like,
I don't mind losing someone who's better than me, but I mind losing someone who just has more time than me.
I don't. See, I don't.
That's my thing.
See,
I don't. Because I think MMOs have become a they've become a feel good machine. You log in, you do something, it throws like, here's an achievement, here's gold, here's this, feel good, no ninjaing.
I'm not saying you have to get loot.
I know what I'm saying is the modern MMOs, especially in the PvE realm, have turned into games that basically there is zero risk, and all that they do are throw nice things at you and bells and whistles to make you feel good about yourself in the game, but there's no risk. And I just think it's kind of sad to me that there's not a winner and a loser anymore. And I think that that's okay in a game. And I think like there should be like, if there's two teams and there's a winner, there's a loser. And if you get your ass kicked in town, sorry, you're the loser. But it's like, if you want to get better, get better. But if you don't, then maybe it's just not your game.
This issue could actually be brought into real life, how people are teaching children now about everybody's a winner when you lose.
We talked about that, Mark, and I talked about that. And our producer, our editor-in-chief, Q, brought it up right before the show, and she's like, isn't that sort of a product of how people parent their kids now? You go to a child's baseball game and nobody loses. I think that's a problem. I think that's lame.
It is a problem, because it's not like real life.
It's nothing like real life. If I don't have children, but if I did, I'd be like, no, kick the shit out of that team. Like, go beat them. Like, that's the way the world works. And that's what I'm saying. Your analogy is spot on, and I agree. And I think that's a problem with gaming.
Well, I don't think
you can't quit real life.
Yeah.
can't
I
quit
don't
real
think
life.
you can essentially, yes, but
Well, you
I won't
can,
get into
yeah,
that.
I know, but you probably shouldn't, right?
I don't think that everyone needs to be equal, but like I said, with the high attrition, they need to make it to where they're not equal. If you're bad at the game, you're bad at the game, but they need to make it where they have the means of somehow doing something or not feeling it. Like, yeah, sure, not the whole, you're still a winner. No, not like that, but, it's where they don't feel like they just utterly got demolished and there was absolutely nothing they could do about it, ever. It's like, that's what actually causes a bad, yeah.
And it's hard to talk about a game that's not even in existence yet because they're still in the, just going to be raising money for it. So it's hard to say exactly how it's going to go. But, realm versus realm PvP is much more about groups of people being social together in large masses and having massive battles. It's not necessarily it's not structured PvP maps where you're almost like one or two people running around and like you feel like you either just won that or lost that on a leaderboard. So if they do this right, and again, I think being able to cut all the fat away of all the PvE and all the other things they have to worry about, they can make a game that's more balanced for this type of gameplay. They can focus on just this type of gameplay, and they can worry about the things like you're talking about, as like not having this high-end elite area of players that just dominate the entire game to piss everybody off so they leave. So they can focus on those things when they can kind of just like cut all that stuff and not have to, raise 250 million. They can raise, 5, 8, 10 million.
Well, another thing they should do is just a quick point, because you said realm versus realm and these massive battles. That's another thing that kills PvP for me, is because I get tired of running around with my group of 5 that, we're really good players or whatever, but we run into a group of 50 and there's literally nothing we can do. It doesn't matter how skilled we are. If we run into a group of 50, first of all, most of them won't even render in a lot of these games. And second of all, they'll just annihilate you. And you're like, that's why
is that bad?
I hate large-scale battles.
Why is that bad? You're 5, they're 50. They should wipe you guys off the map. Why is that a bad thing?
Because both people should have a spot. I think small groups, single players, and, if you want to be a thief that runs in and, picks off
then
people
here's the thing.
End,
it's just like in EVE Online, right? EVE Online, it's got all these different, sexes with 0, 0, 1, 2, whatever, how it's like, it's the farther you go out, the safer it is. And the closer you get to the center, the more like it's just lawless. If you're with 5 people, don't be in 0, 0. Don't go there.
So don't enjoy part of the game because Ruin sits in the middle.
No. Either don't play the game because it's not for you, or go get a larger group and get into a group of 50 and go into that area. There's going to be areas that I'm sure.
Like Ruin literally does ruin servers in games. Like that's their goal. They'll have 3 maxed out guilds, and they will literally try to ruin servers. Like they have a horrible reputation amongst many gamers, especially in PvP. Like Warhammer, Ion. I can just Rift. It's like they're really annoying, and they do that. And they typically try to like recruit the whole server pretty much and dominate to the point everybody on the server quits.
In SWG on Valsian server, we basically made the Republic side quit, and we loved every minute of it. They either came over to our side or they left because we harassed them.
No more Star Wars Galaxies.
Because we harassed them, and it was the best game I ever played, Jason. Best game I ever played.
Most
fun I've ever had in an MMO ever, and we annihilated them every day. We burned down their player cities every day, and they either quit or came over, and it was the greatest game ever. All right, I'm moving on because I'm gonna rage quit. I'm gonna rage quit this show.
No. See, at the same time, I could point out Ultima Online, where we would go. We had a strict rule of not recruiting everybody because we were, a really good PvP guild. We'd have about 20 to 25 people in our guild active, and we'd go through and be in fights where there would be 3 other large guilds that would have at least 30 each on, and every time we showed up, they'd all turn on us, but we would somehow end up just annihilating all of them. But it was because it was Ultima Online. It was a completely skill-based game. Like
so was that okay then when you were completely annihilating them? Was that okay? You felt good. You were fine.
Well, because it was skill-based. It wasn't as gear. Well, at the time, it wasn't as gear-based. You could run in naked and still annihilate people if you had all your regs on you as a mage. It's like, it wasn't, that's different. But, in a game that's like gear-based, that's where I think games are going wrong.
Who said the game was gear-based, though?
No, I'm saying it.
The game's going to be skill-based. It's going to actually be to the point of like your strength gets stronger as you swing a sword. And he's not sure about, I asked him actually about, if you decide to change classes, let's say you start out as a knight or whatever, You're swinging a sword and you get super strong. I said if you switch, you just decide to go to a major, you're actually going to have like diminishing skills and numbers, and they're not really sure about that. It'd be very small if they did, but they're even thinking about stuff like that. They're even talking. He's even talking about stuff that really pisses some people off. Talking about like having a player choice matter at character creation, whether you're male or female. Oh my God! If you pick a male, you might be stronger than a female. That might be a possibility. Holy crap! That's just not PC.
I think that's the design mistake, but yeah.
And I think it's glorious.
To each their own. I think the game will actually end up being closed down after a few years if it goes that route. That's my
I'll
opinion.
come back in a few years. All right, let's talk about a game that is shutting down. BioWare is shutting down a game. It's not SWTOR. At least not this week, anyway. It's Warhammer Online Wrath of Heroes. I think it's kind of safe to say that the majority of our viewers probably have never even heard of this title. So it's not Warhammer Online. You've played it?
Yeah, I played it a little bit for like about a week or so just to try it out when it first came out.
Yeah, this is not Warhammer Online, the MMO. This was Mythic, as part of BioWare now. This is, I guess, this kind of was like an offshoot of that, where they turned it into like a battleground game, correct?
Yeah, it was like basically 3 teams of 6. They had, I don't know, like 3 or 4 different maps when I played. There was a deathmatch version. There was a capture the flag? There was a control point one. There might have been a capture the flag as well. Yeah, it was basically 3 teams of 6 and, stuff. Killing.
So that's it. Shutting down. Free to play, 3 factions. It was third person, had classes, abilities, battleground maps, that sort of thing. So that one's going.
Go ahead.
No.
I don't remember where this is in the script. I was going to say that the thing that I remember when I played it was, going into it, I have the notion kind of League of Legends where you play that, you have to play for probably 4 or 5 matches. You can afford one of the cheaper champions with the in-game currency. So I get into this and I play my first time. I'm like, okay, I got like 200 points for doing a match. All right, great. I look at what I need to buy a new character. It's like 25,000.
Do you think that's part of the problem with the game? Like, why do you think it's shutting down? Why do you think this one didn't take hold?
I mean, I think that is part of it. Is that the progression would just be so slow, and there were like three free characters you could have. Of course, you could pay money to get the other characters or whatever. When I actually played it, it seemed awfully Zerg-like. You didn't really go away from your group because if you went away, 1 or maybe 2 of you, you'd run to the other 6 players from the other team, and they just slaughter you, and you just roll throughout the whole thing. So that part of it, like I said, the control point one seemed a little less. You can move around a little bit more independently. But again, the fact that you only had like three free characters per side, that's what you tended to see most of. So there really wasn't much variety in each faction. Because you might see a little bit of some of the other ones, but you'd have 6-person teams, maybe 3 of them being the same character, and it was kind of bland in that sense. But I mean, it played okay. It just didn't seem really special in my mind.
Yeah, it never really grabbed me. I mean, they sort of pulled this idea out of the battlegrounds from Warhammer Online, right? I mean, because though that was partially at some point, that was probably the most fun I had in Warhammer Online were those areas.
Well, I mean, it's like
they
anything.
just decided to.
Yeah, it's like any battleground Warzone PvP structured area. It could be like just like anything like WoW or Guild Wars 2 or whatever, control points or capture the flag or whatever.
All right, that one is shutting down. Next one up here, zombies. I know Pocket loves zombies. Steam is obviously the service for zombies. So check this out. The controversy-ridden WarZ is back on Steam this week. I'm actually kind of surprised it came back. Was taken off for having a completely misleading Steam page that pissed a lot of gamers off. We covered that a ton. Slightly. How do you think this one's going to do? I mean, now it's got a Metascore critic of like 23 out of 100. I don't know. Can this game come back? I mean, are people going to start throwing them? First of all, are people playing it? I haven't logged in. Are people playing it again?
I know none of my guildmates have been, at least as far as they've been saying. I know a lot of people sort of have negative opinions of it right now. And I think that's their problem, is are they going to be able to get... I thought they had to change their name due to World War Z, Brad Pitt's movie that's coming out.
I don't know. There has been some talk about that, like the patents and all that kind of stuff and changing names or copyright infringement. I don't know. It looks like they did lose their banner image that they stole from The Walking Dead. That's a good start, I guess.
Yeah, and they did...
I don't really mind that.
They did edit their description, too. They don't mention... Because one of the big things we were talking about before was, like they said, up to 100 square kilometers, 8 maps, stuff like that. Yeah, none of that's on there. There are basically no numbers in the features section. No
Do you think it's
number of
really?
what-
Do you think they still have a
what there
chance that
is.
just a very small segment of the gamer community even knows all the controversy? Like people obviously in the know, watching a show like this, have seen us cover it. But do you think that they still have a chance that the masses of people out there who may play a game like this don't even know about any of this stuff?
I don't know this. Is this really a game for the masses, though? I mean, this isn't like Mario Brothers. You'd think that if you were interested in this, you would have kind of learned about it a bit before.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
So you would know a fair amount of the stuff that goes the stank, the zombie stank.
So what do you do? Do you think that I'm almost surprised they just didn't change the name and try and come back as a completely different entity? Maybe that's just crazy.
That would have been again. That might have been good for the few uneducated masses, but that would have been like 7 levels above shady for the people who have any kind of clue. We're the war. Why?
War why?
Not the
Why
war?
war?
War why?
Why
Zombie,
war?
zombie. Yetis. There we go.
There you go.
Richie would play it.
I'm
You
so
would.
confused. No, but I think that it doesn't. I don't know. I think a lot of people now that are a fan of that sort of game are waiting for DayZ standalone now. I don't think they're. I think a lot of them were turned off by WarZ. I feel like a lot of people felt scammed, and a lot of the big YouTubers like Total Biscuit that people follow, he made a huge, rant against it. And I think, people will follow people like him faithfully. Not saying they shouldn't or should, but people like him influence a lot. That's why Steam got changed in the first place. So.
Well, it's back up there. I don't really. I'm not putting my recommendation behind go picking that one up because I have it and I'm not logging in. Anyway, all right.
I think it would make a heck of a stream, Gary.
Well, I will say that I liked it more than when I was playing DayZ because DayZ had so many hackers, like a ridiculous, and it wasn't just hacking. Like I gave myself guns. I could handle someone giving themselves guns. Quite honestly, it was hacking like. Not only did I give myself guns, but I've teleported everybody into the air so they can all fall. Or I've teleported the Thunderdome. I've teleported everybody into the same area so you just get shot by a million people. It's like just stuff like that. That was game breaking in my opinion. Or jets that weren't even in DayZ, but somehow because of Arma were in DayZ. It's like there's so many like game breaking things that every single server I had to log off of.
It's also, I mean, it was also like a mod for a game that like probably has all kinds of security holes and loopholes in it because of something, the way it's kind of was developed and it was just created as a mod. I guess all we can hope for is, we're still waiting for the DayZ standalone release, which I imagine should be a much tighter ship because in games like that, hackers and people like that just absolutely ruin the game.
Their employees got released from prison in Greece.
Yes.
You see that a couple weeks ago?
Yes.
Nice.
Which is really still just an insane story. It's crazy.
I understand that DayZ was a mod. I'm not saying it's the worst game ever, but that's why I couldn't play anymore.
I agree. I agree. It runs you out of the game. I'm saying I think like it being a mod and the popularity that it took. Like I don't think they ever thought that they would see that kind of popularity. So some of that stuff probably had a lot of holes in the code and stuff that would let that happen. Like I'm just saying, hopefully now with the standalone release, they're just tightening up that drum as tight as possible so we don't see all that crap. Because if a game especially like that when it's all just PvP and survival, if there's hackers, that's a lame ass game.
I really hope the standalone's great, so I'm going to play it.
Hopefully it's coming soon. First it was Blizzard at Sony. Now we're hearing Blizzard making an appearance at PAX East at the end of the month. They sent out an emailed note and it said, a little something different from our other games. It's not a sequel, expansion, or that rumored next-gen MMO, but it's something we're excited for you to get your hands on. What the heck could they be talking about? All right, it's not Titan. It's probably not an MMO. I mean,
sounds like they're coming out with more single player games.
You think another announcement maybe for something on like the PlayStation? Or I mean, a lot of people are saying All Stars, but I mean that it could be.
What about that Project Blackstone thing or whatever that we heard about a while back?
What was that, Jason?
Some Blackstone thing or something we talked about
Project
a while
Blackstone.
back. Just thinking about it now, yeah. Did we ever figure out any concept of what that was?
I don't think so. I don't know. I'm actually happy really to see Blizzard getting out and doing these things. I mean, not, as far as I know, is this like the first PAX Blizzard has ever really gone to officially? They don't really do these things.
They've went to one like 3 years ago. The first PAX I ever went to, I think, was in 2009, and they were at that one with, was it Cataclysm? Yeah, Cataclysm. And so you got to play goblins and stuff there. But then after that, they never went back to PAX. And I have a feeling that they'll never take WoW back to PAX, but they have some sort of like single-player games coming to PlayStation or Xbox or something, and they're going to start announcing them. I hope.
And people are telling me Blackstone was actually Heart of the Swarm, but I know nothing about StarCraft 2, so.
There you go. Well, we'll keep an eye on it, and PAX is coming up, so we'll definitely be finding out some info there. It's exciting stuff. All right, let's do some viewer questions and get out of here. If you guys have viewer questions for the TWIMMO crew, send them to submit@gamebreaker.tv. We do not get video questions on the show. What's up, peeps? Send video questions. Record yourself on YouTube and send the link to submit@gamebreaker.tv. First up this week from William Chase Lafoon says, if you could only purchase one MMO this year, what would it be? Hillary.
Oh, ArcAge. Oh, I want ArcAge so bad.
You probably didn't hear about it. So I nerded out the other day. Last week we covered ArcAge a bit, right? And that was the first I kind of dug my teeth into it a little bit. The next night, my buddy just started calling me up, and we just nerded out for like 3 hours watching YouTube videos.
And they are pretty, the videos for ArcAge.
I watch.
Outstanding.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see
I went to their website. No.
There's like 2 ships, and they'll say they're gonna. I mean, they might even start fighting each other. The guys on the ships. Then this big sea monster just comes up, and starts. Or at least the Kraken, and it just starts messing with both of them.
And the coolest thing about the ship combat is, like I brought this up a few times, is that what I was really surprised I hadn't noticed is that the ship doesn't become the character in the game. So I can have a ship and have like 10 people on my ship, or you guys can come on the ship and actually do stuff on the ship. It's not like I just become the ship.
Like a crew.
I just move
that is
the
what
ship.
I so wish Star Trek Online would have been. That's exactly what I was looking forward to. That everyone has like their own role on the ship. I'll tell you, the online game that I played that actually did that, Puzzle Pirates, of all things.
I want more info because I'm going to see. It's going to be really interesting for what you guys think of that game, because to me, the information we have all about the end game is player cities, take your shit, burn down your castle, and destroy everything you have.
I can't wait for that game. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Jason, if you could buy only one game this year, what would it be?
It's got to be Elder Scrolls Online. I mean, it's. I still have some doubts about it, and I think it's. Sometimes I think it sounds really great. Sometimes I think it sounds like the next SWTOR, but I got to try it. I got to play it. I'm an Elder Scrolls fanboy for 10 years, so I got to at least see what it's like. If I could only play one new one this year, it'd have to be that one.
Yeah, man. Can I go with Elder Scrolls of ArcAge?
Yeah.
Can I get a mixture of those, because I really can't decide right now. If you asked me last week, I definitely would have said Tesso. And now that I've nerded out, nerded out on all these ArcAge videos, and I do like what I see, it's tough. It's tough. I don't know.
Is it going to be out this year though? So if you're saying one game this year, then I don't know if ArcAge.
Oh, that's true. No, that is actually true. I don't think ArcAge is going to make this year. I really don't. Really? Are they technically out?
They're still in beta in Korea.
Yeah, they're in beta.
They're like CBT 6 at this point or something. Closed beta testing 6. Yeah. They are not going to be out this year.
It might take like 6 months, to bring it over. I think Trion's already working on bringing it over here. So, I mean, I don't think they probably are, since they announced it.
I'm going to say Elder Scrolls then. That'll be my answer. All right, next up. Jim Bergervin Jr. says, what makes for a true action combat system in an MMO? Neverwinter claims to be action-based, but with a rooting system in place, is it really action combat, or is it labeled as such solely because the mouse is held hostage to a static reticule? Jason, what do you think?
I think there are the things that we think of, the separation between action combat and not action combat. I think the things are tab targeting versus not tab targeting, or open targeting. Clicking to use your attacks instead of auto attacking, and movement, I guess, whether it's requiring movement or dodge rolling or whatever. I think those are kind of the 3 things that you kind of look at to judge what's something action combat. Now, Neverwinter has dodging, it has clicking, but it also has tab targeting.
And it has rooting, right?
Yeah, rooting. Well, rooting. You do have the dodge though, so I kind of that sort of makes me feel okay. Or you can block if you have a shield. So I mean, 2 out of 3, it's kind of action-y. Action combat is almost like something they're putting in every. If a game is not strictly a tab targeting, stand in one place kind of game, it's action combat.
Yeah.
If you can do anything else, it's action combat.
It's action combat and emergent gameplay. Those are the two phrases. Those are the 2013 phrases that everybody will know by the end of the year. Last year it was dynamic. Dynamic events, dynamic content, and now it's emergent gameplay and action combat. Hillary, anything else you would add to that list?
Well, I've been playing Devil May Cry. That's action combat. No, I don't know. Terra's action combat. I know it's not an MMO. But Terra's action combat, I think that Neverwinter, if you play the Trickster Rogue, that's very actiony. You're just constantly like dodging, and in fact, I could tank a boss on the Trickster Rogue because I was always dodging and attacking, and then dodging, and then warping, and then attacking, and then summoning that thing, and then dodging and attacking. It's like it was just filled with action.
But the thing is, always.
Go ahead.
I say there's always going to be someone who's like, yeah, but they have tab targeting. That's not real action combat. That's just tab targeting. You guys are losers. You're not real gamers. So,
well, you can't tab target in Terra.
Not in Terra. I'm talking about Neverwinter still.
Duh. Okay.
Sorry. You're talking about your Trickster Rogue. You have a Trickster Rogue in Terra? That's great.
I wish.
Last up this week from Rich Carroll, he says, will we start to see more shooter MMOs like Destiny Defiance in the future? Aren't we already?
We already are. Yeah, I know.
I mean,
it's like
those are 2 in the future that we mentioned. Those are in the future, actually.
And then PlanetSide 2 is in the past. Although,
so
we're gonna see action shooter MMOs soon.
Firefall
with emergent gameplay.
With emergent gameplay, dynamic events,
in a sandbox.
Sandbox with full PvP loot where you actually can burn down your opponent's
No,
computer.
not PvP, RVR. RVR.
Oh yes, Tri-Realm RVR.
That's almost the other one. The next one.
I want to be able to hit a button, Jason, just blow your computer up when I beat you. That's really like all of a sudden you just see smoke coming out of your monitor, and you're like, "Damn, this game sucks. I hate it so much." Jason Winter, follow him on the. It's so hardcore. You just burn down your computer. Follow him on the Twitter at Winter Informal, and of course, come over to GameBreaker.tv and read all his great work right over here. That is Winter Informal.
I want everybody to have a good time playing that game.
I want everybody to be butterflies and flowers, and then rainbows and cherries, and everybody just sing songs.
Everybody's special in my game.
Then we all murder each other around the campfire.
Make some more.
We could talk about this for hours. That's the problem. Is they make everybody try and feel special. You're not. You're not. We're just a bunch of grunts.
I am a special person, but I make my name known.
We're just a bunch of grunts slitting each other's throats. Give me your loot. Hillary Nicole, follow her on the Twitter at Pocket Says. Go to Pocket Productions, check out our YouTube channel and all that other good stuff. And of course, right here on TWIMMO. Yeah. I'm
gonna find you in every game you play, and I'll let you know what this grunt thinks about you. Better not roll on PvP.
That's all. That's how I roll. That's all I roll. You can follow me on Twitter. I forgot the plug for today. If you guys have not checked out Audible, go over to audible.com. Use this URL, audible.com/gamebreaker. Get a free audiobook and get to check out Audible free for 30 days. Speaking of Neverwinter, go use that link and check out Search Dungeons and Dragons. Like, there's a ton of new D&D books up on Audible, and they're freaking awesome. Check it out today, audible.com/gamebreaker. We do the show live every single Friday at 3 PST, so we'll be back next week for more This Week in MMO. We'll see you next week. Have a great weekend, and thanks for watching. You guys are awesome.